In response to the question I pose on the Instagram feed, what's the biggest challenge you're facing at the moment in your spiritual life? This person wrote, fear. Fear and loss. Mostly fear. Everything passing away, and I don't want to get old and die. And I'm tired. But I've so much to be grateful for, so there's hope. I really want to live, but I can tell I am slowly passing away. I'm trying to fight it, but it's no use. It scares me to death. I know it's just a normal human thing that everyone goes through, and I'm trying not to hate it like so many people who tell me that growing old is awful, horrible, and that it sucks. And then straight away after that message, they sent another little message that says, just after I sent this, my brain started playing that Trooper song. We're here for a good time, not a long time. The sun doesn't shine every day. It happens to be a very sunny and beautiful afternoon day today. I'm going outside. Thanks for inviting me to write this stuff. I hope you're well and having a good day. Thank you. So there's a lot in this question. I feel for this person because it can be a bit of a shock when you suddenly realize you're getting older. I haven't had that, I have to say, because I've been very conscious. I've been blessed that I've been very conscious from a young age, like my teens, from around about the time I started getting funneled into a career of some kind. I began to go, this isn't important. I know this isn't important. And like, what is important? And for me, it was the thing of, well, what can I take with me? And money, status, all those kind of things. No, they didn't seem that important. They didn't seem like I could take them with me. And I was very conscious from a very early age, 12, 13, something like that, of I'm going to die. This isn't a never-ending thing. At some point, it's going to come to an end. And I want to feel like I got the most out of it when I am dying. As I'm dying, I don't want to be having regrets. A lot of people don't seem to have that. And I'm saying that because I'm just from looking around. People are very involved. They really believe they're going to live forever. They sort of keep going. And then suddenly they get the shock of like, oh my God. And some people don't get it until they're dying, that they kind of realize what's happened. And that's very sad, but that's the way I've observed it with people. And really, this isn't got anything got to do with getting old. This is to do with consciousness, as far as I can see it. Because the sooner you realize that you're going to die, the sooner you can get focused on what's important to you. And I don't mean you're going to die in a fatalistic thing, but that this thing that we're in has a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. Just like sitting down to watch a movie. You don't think the movie's going to go on forever. You don't spend the whole time kind of going, oh, it's going to end. But you know it's coming. And in the same way, there's an end to this particular experience. What happens afterwards? I don't know. Nobody knows. So even though this person, it's difficult, it's great. It's a great opportunity when your body lets you know, hey, we're changing. I'm not going to be here forever. This whole thing is not going to be here forever. That's a time for celebration because you're becoming conscious of what's happening in your life and what's real. It's so funny the way we get shocked about it because it's like the most obvious thing. You just have to look around. Nature is full of it. Things are being born, living, and dying all around you. Like we have it with our pets. They just don't live for as long as we do. So we get reminders all over the place. So when it finally comes to you and you go, oh, I'm getting older, because when you're in your 20s, you can eat whatever you like, you can drink whatever you like. Your body has like incredible recuperative powers. But then you sort of get onto your 40s and things start to change. And the great thickening occurs, as I like to think of it. And you realize, oh, I can't eat like a 20-year-old anymore. I have to change. I have to respond. And then as it keeps going, you kind of go, oh, okay, now I'm one of those people, Because the really funny thing about people who are older is it's the first time they've been older. They've never been older before. They've looked at old people, The number of memes you see of people going, oh, I looked in the mirror and I'm that old person. But that's because it's the first time they've been old. And it's always the first time for everyone. It's not like you have any previous experience of getting older. It's new for everybody. So you look, if you're younger and you're looking around at the sort of 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds, they're in shock. They're like, oh my God, now I'm a 60-year-old. Oh my God, now I'm a 70-year-old, As I say, I didn't have that, thankfully, because from the time I was a teenager, I was very conscious of what was happening and that this is important and I'm going to get the most out of it and I'm going to get what's of value. And money and status and politics and all the stuff that everybody seems to take so seriously, I don't know about that, because I can't take it with me. That's the way I've always looked at it, is what can I take with me? And there isn't anything really I take with me into deep dreamless sleep. So I'm probably not going to be able to take anything with me. But it seemed to me that consciousness and focusing my life around consciousness, that seemed like pretty as close as I could get to something I could take with me. And the more I became conscious, the more I felt like the things that I was discovering were things that I would consider as I was on my deathbed. That's assuming I get to be in a bed. Which would be nice. So it's one of the functions of getting older is if you haven't been thinking about this, it starts to make you think about it. But it doesn't matter what age you are. If you can come to this, if you can kind of go, what's important to me? What's really important to me? What can I bring with me? What can I focus on? Getting older won't be a shock to you. And certainly getting older for me hasn't been a shock. It's just been a continuation of what I've already been doing and engaged in. And what's nice is that the more I've focused on consciousness and the more I've oriented my life around consciousness, the more interesting it's got. So the older I get, the more interesting my life gets. And as I've said before, like having big projects is a great thing to do as you get older. Not to do less, but to do more. But to do more of the things that you're passionate about, of course. But to take on big, audacious things is very helpful. So this person seems to have actually figured it out for themselves. And I think this is more of a report than I don't think there's any question here. Because they kind of went, well, the sun is shining and it doesn't always shine, so I'm going to go out and enjoy it. That's kind of it. That's like one of the more important things is that the sun shines, and when the sun shines, to enjoy it and to forget about the future. I know that contradicts what I said, but to forget about the future and come into the moment, because you can ruin the moment by thinking, oh, that's it now. The best days of my life are behind me and it's all downhill from here. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to die from something. That's an important thing to think about. Do you want to die from something, or do you just want to die? Meaning, do you want to be afraid of getting some terrible thing and like, oh, I'm going to have to, I'm going to get some sort of cancer or some sort of horrible neurological disease or so, I can't just die. I have to die from something. That's not true. You can just die. You don't have to die from something. You can make that your goal. You aim towards just dying when you die. People used to die of old age all the time. Yeah, I know you can kind of go, yeah, well, that's because they were undiagnosed. But there was a sort of a naturalness to it than dying from something. Very few people die of old age these days. They always die from something. So you can avoid that. You can make that something to aim towards, And you can live until you die. A lot of people, when they realize they're getting older, and particularly with the retirement structure, as soon as they retire, they just hang around waiting to die. I remember one old lady telling me about herself and her friends who used to meet for coffee every couple of weeks. She said, oh yeah, well, we all know we're in the departure lounge. That's not living. That's not a way to live. Die in mid-stride. Die on your feet, not on your knees or not on the couch. And I don't mean physically, I mean in your spirit, die with your spirit up and ready to go, ready for the next thing. This is an issue like for lots of people now, because there's more people going into getting on in life now than ever before. We've got a huge infertility problem, so there's not as many people going to be born. So we've got this wedge in the middle of lots of people who are going through, my generation, they're all freaked out now because they're in their 60s. And it's completely understandable because they're unprepared for it. It's not like everything in their life has not prepared them for this. So it's very understandable how shocking it is. But it's happening for more and more people. And there's lots of things you can do about it. And it starts with kind of going, I haven't got that much time left, so I'm going to make the most of it. Okay, I'm going to take on the big, audacious projects. I know I'm tired, but a lot of the time I'm tired because I've been just doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And now I'm realizing I didn't have to do any of that stuff. Okay, and don't get into regrets or anything like that. It's all served you. It's all served you to now. And now you're listening to me. And I'm saying to you, throw off the old shackles and just go for it and start to explode with vitality, because it's in there. All the things that are weighing you down are just to do with decisions that you made in the past. And you'll be amazed how much vitality comes into your body when you let things go that are not true to you. So take on the big projects. Make it your goal in life not to die from something, to just die when it's time. And you'll know because you'll get in tune with your life and your body and what your body's doing. Like when you look at it, your body is just a collection of cells. It's a collection of cells that are held together by a coherent field, much like iron filings that form a particular shape because of the magnet that's under the paper. The magnet is the coherent field or the blueprint, and what organizes the blueprint is your being, the essence of who you are. So your cells can pretty much do whatever they're told to do. So I wouldn't take your body too seriously. It's got a rhythm to it. Everything's got a rhythm to it. One of my craniosacral teachers and friends, he described it beautifully. He said, we think we are born, we live, and we die, which isn't actually correct. We are born, and we're born, and we're born, and we're born, and we're born, and we die. And that's my experience. That's what I've observed in myself and in other people. We're continually changing. So I think this person is in tune with that because they're talking about the sun coming out and it's a lovely day. And to enjoy the lovely days when they're there. So if you're listening to this and you're getting on a bit, and these things are starting to dawn on you, celebrate. Celebrate that you've become conscious that this is a passing thing. And what's important to you, what's really important to you. Don't sacrifice your spirit for what feels like comfort, but it isn't really. Leave the job, leave the marriage, leave the country. If it takes away your life, if it's making you dead while you're alive, nothing's worth that. Change, let it change, go on the big adventure. If you're only realizing now that you've been kind of sleepwalking through your life, that's fine. Go on the big adventure now. Doesn't matter what age you are. Let the vitality up and let it out.